Now, animation's a real hand-done craft. The animator sits at a drawing board and he or she draws 24 drawings a second of the beast or a Lumiere. But I think if an animator drew all those, it would take forever to make a film. So quite often the animator will do just extreme poses and assistants will fill in the rest, or people called in-betweeners fill in the in-between drawings. All that work is done on pencil and paper and shot under a camera where you get a chance to see how the action's working. So here's some terrific animation from all of the different characters in Beauty and the Beast in their earliest phase. Let's take a look. Glenn Keane animated these drawings of the Beast when he first is seen by Belle, and then Mark Henn had to animate Belle's reaction, and Ruben Aquino animated Maurice, who was trapped in the dungeon. When you look at these drawings, you realize how different animators have different handwriting, and Glenn's drawings look very different from Mark Henn's drawings, which look very different from Ruben's drawings, and yet those three actors have to appear together in the same scene as though one person drew them. The character design of the Beast was a funny thing. He had to be gruff and angry, like in this scene. He had to appear like he was a monster, a big animal, and yet in other scenes he had to fall in love. He had to be sweet. You had to see into his eyes that inside was the soul of a human being. So this animation had to be very rangy, and this was the part of the film where he could really show his animal side when Maurice came into the castle for the first time. The funny thing about animation is you might think that it's about moving the character around, and sometimes the best animation is not moving the character, giving the character a sense that he's really thinking, and certainly that's the case on this scene where you get a feeling that the Beast, even in these rough drawings, is really thinking somewhere inside there, and that helps the audience believe that it's a living, breathing beast. And once again, Glenn Keane animates these very simple, expressive drawings and goes through a range of emotions, but not a lot of movement. He starts very thoughtful, and the Beast gets very wistful, and then at the end, very happy. And he doesn't move around a lot. And those drawings express a wide range of emotions with just a very few scribbles on a piece of paper. And it's really the art of the animator at their best. A simple scene like this, you might think, well, that just takes a, half hour or something to do, and what you're looking at in this take of the Beast is probably a couple days worth of work. It's not only the rough animator's job, but also the work of the cleanup artist to add all the detail on the characters, down to the highlights in the eyes that create a feeling of this character living and breathing on the screen. So it gives you a new appreciation for how much work goes into a scene as simple as this one. James Baxter was the lead animator on Belle, and here you can see his beautiful animation. Again, it's very rough and expressive, and you see a lot of the underdrawing and scribbles that it took to create the character, but she feels completely alive and plausible as a character on the screen. Nick Ranieri had the unenviable job of animating a candelabra. We had never done that at Disney Animation before, and his drawings of Lumiere, along with Jerry Orbach's voice, were really wonderful in creating a new character, a character made out of these anthropomorphic objects. And it's another thing that a Disney animator can do so well, take a clock, a teapot, and candelabra and breathe life into them. And certainly Nick did that with Lumiere. Ruben Aquino animated Maurice, Belle's father, and this is a scene where he first realizes that these objects are enchanted, that he's in a beautiful castle, but it's not just populated by a beast. There's also incredible talking teapots and teacups in this place, and it's an interesting reveal. He realizes halfway through drinking this cup of tea that it's alive. Now here the animator had to create a sense of moving through space, sometimes in the Z-plane, in and out of the screen to get a feeling of Belle running away from camera, sometimes moving from right to left with the background panning behind. And it's done in very simple, subtle ways with camera moves and drawings that move to give the feeling that the characters are walking down a hallway. You'll notice too in a scene right towards the beginning that Belle has small triangles drawn on her cheeks. These were added by the cleanup artists, and later in our post-production process, those will be painted a light pink color and blended to create a rosy rouge color on her cheeks. Here Nick Ranieri animates the line course by course, one by one, and it's the big kind of pullback where the band slows down and Lumiere is going to really put on a show and really show Belle this big finale of all the dancing teacups and silverware and show them what they can do. One thing you notice when you look at a clip like this is all the layering that goes into a sequence, quite often by different animators. Cogsworth might have been animated by one person and the Feather Dusters by another, and in the background you see some early computer graphics of the chandelier turning with dancing forks on it. Here again you see the many layers that put a scene together, not only Cogsworth but all the bottles of champagne. The special effects artists have roughed in some champagne up in the air, the computer graphics in the background for the chandelier and the forks, and it gives you a sense of all this activity going on in the big finale of Be Our Guest.